So you decided you want to get into insurance and you can't decide if you want to go the captive route or the independent route. My name is Evan Tinsman, and I am here to share with you some of the things that I wish somebody would have shared with me 11 years ago when I decided to get into the industry. What this video is not is an attempt to persuade you into which direction to go, and it is not an attempt to recruit you towards any company. And lastly, it is never going to ask you to buy anything. I simply am creating a video series to share with you the information that I wish I had to make my decision easier, because some of these things cost me a lot of time and a lot of money to learn the hard way, so I just thought I would put it out there and share. I apologize for noise and the camera. I'm driving, beautiful day, Western PA, going to meet a client, so I thought I would do this now while I was thinking about it. So you decide to get into insurance. You're starting to get a little overwhelmed with all the choices and the options. You're talking to people. They're all giving you opinions. They're all telling you we're the best. Do it this way. Don't do it that way. Whatever. I'm going to just give you some basics to consider. And we're going to start with this. Captive versus independent. It is a very, very big decision to make, and it's not one to be taken lightly. Let's talk about what each of them are just for a minute or two. Captive is simply you represent one company, one carrier, you fly under one sign. That could be any of your majors, that could be your Allstate, that could be your State Farm, that could be Farmers, whatever it might be in your area. I know Nationwide, they just went independent or some kind of variation with their contracts. Independent, you're kind of, you have more freedom and flexibility, and you have the ability to contract with whoever you want or however many you want from a carrier standpoint. I myself am independent, full disclosure. I have access to literally hundreds of companies in all different areas of insurance. That works for me. I do a lot of commercial insurance and I have clients all over the country. Captive actually restricts you to where you're allowed to write business. So a lot of times it's just within a certain geographic area. Anyways, let's go back. Captive companies, one company, one product, one price. You either look to go in and take over an existing book of business, or you look to start from scratch. Now, one of the very first questions you need to ask any captive carrier that you're looking at: who owns the book of business? Who owns the clientele? I'm going to share with you what I went through 11 years ago. So some of these companies may have changed. So I would encourage you to do your own due diligence if you are talking with anybody that I may mention. I originally looked at Allstate. I looked at starting scratch. I looked at buying a book. Allstate, you owned your book of business. So you could will it to a child. You could pass it on to a child. You could sell it. You could do whatever you want to do. I also went through State Farm's process. And theirs was you owned your business, but you didn't own your book. So you own the payables, the receivables, the bricks and mortar, things like that. And I believe they fund a pension for you and something like that. But when you're ready to retire, and I think they tell you have to retire at like 65 or something, that they take the customer base back and you just kind of leave with your pension and whatever money you saved. The independent world, well, it's just that. You own your business and you could do whatever you want to do. So in the captive world, they're all going to tell you you need to have X amount of money in the bank, you need to spend X amount of money in, you need to have X amount on reserves. They're going to tell you where to put your office, how you have to trade dress your office, how much money you have to spend on staff. Get those details up front so you can make an informed financial decision. Now, the independent world, you still have a lot of expenses. You got to find an office. You have to come up with your own theme and furniture and logos and all that stuff. So it definitely takes some work as well. So and it takes it takes money to get started. It takes less money. Biggest upside to going captive: instant brand recognition, name recognition. You have pre-existing marketing campaigns, lead generation, trade dress, signs, business cards, designated underwriters, all that stuff. Downside to it is with one product, you have one price. So you have a price change, well, that could open you up to losing customers. So here's an example of that. You have $1 million book of business, $1 million worth of premium. That's all the premium everybody pays. Now you get 10% of that, which means you make $100,000 a year off that $1 million. Now, they have a price increase next year, which a lot of them do, and now you lose 10% of your business. Well, your expenses are the same, and now instead of $100,000, you're making $90,000. Now ask yourself this, how easy do you think it's going to be to go out and get new business if you can't keep your existing business because your prices are going up and you're not competitive? In the independent world, having multiple carriers, if one of them has a price increase, I have the ability to shop them around, rewrite them with another carrier, and keep them in-house. Now the downside on independent, it's not as easy as you think to get carriers to appoint you from the very beginning. You have to get one person to sponsor you, to get what's called a LexisNexis, which is the system to get your driving records, your MVRs, things like that. And then they want to see some business out of you. So then when you go to other companies, it costs them money to set you up on their system to appoint you. And they're hesitant because they know that insurance has a very high turnover rate and dropout rate, and they don't want to lose that money. So that's a challenge of starting an independent. Now, you could go buy an independent too. So let's talk about that real quick. I did not have a good understanding of this when I was looking. When you buy an insurance agency, everything is based on the multiplier of revenue. And the revenue is not how much premium is paid. The revenue is simply how much commissions you earn. So if you have that $1 million book of business and you're making $100,000, the high-end multiplier, at least in this region of the country, is 2.5. So you should not pay more than $250,000 for that $1 million book of business. Now, 2.5 is actually a little high. It's more like 1.5 to 2 is probably a healthy range, unless it's so good that it justifies it. So you want to know what the multipliers are in your area. You don't want to be quick to make judgments or decisions, based on what other people tell you. You want to do your own homework. You want to figure out and learn a little bit about each of the lines of business to see what appeals to you. I started out financial and life, and then I did commercial, then I started my business, and now I do everything, and I have clients all over the country. And I personally, as an individual, I spend more time doing commercial insurance because the relationships are deeper, the commissions are bigger, they're easier to work with. I have more fun with it, but that's me. I personally do not like turning home and auto insurance. It's very labor intensive and it makes me the least amount of money, but it is necessary for the revenue of an agency to be healthy. You have to have a well-rounded book of business. So a lot's going to be coming at you, and a lot of people are going to be trying to tell you what you want to hear to make their scenario seem the most appealing to get you to go their direction. Ask them, what is their turnover rate? Ask them to give you names of 3 agents that have been there for maybe more than 5 years and 3 agents that have been with them for less than 3 years, whatever. Take your time. Everybody's going to try to persuade you to go the direction they want you to go. So, anyways, just a little introduction of some things that you should consider on the captive versus independent to start to get an understanding of what they are, how they work, and to figure out what will work for you in your area. You also may want to drive around. It's that whole thing, like, you never see a blue car until you buy a blue car. You never really pay attention to how many insurance agencies are out there until you want to get into the industry, whatever that may be. You get my point. So look around your area too and see who's out there, see what's out there. Find out the statistical age. I believe in Western Pennsylvania, the average age is 58 years old. I generate a ton of business off of social media, word of mouth, referral, because I go to the places that the traditional agents do not go. So, and that'll be future videos as well. So at this point, you're looking to make a decision, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go. Start by just go rewatch this video. I know I kind of rambled a little bit, but there's a lot of juice in this video, little pointers that you need to start to consider, look into. If you have questions or comments or things that you're trying to figure out, leave them in the comments below, and I will either A, respond to you, or B, maybe I'll just use that as a topic for a video. But I greatly appreciate you taking the time for watching this, and I wish you luck in your process, and I can't wait to see how things go for you. Again, this is Evan Tinsman, and I will talk to you soon.